Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. May peace and blessings be upon you and your households, and the spirit of endurance as we approach the end. Lord willing, sooner rather than later. But everything's obviously in the hands of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. But through the men of the Lord, the mouthpiece of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, the men of Great Millstone, the apostles on down, right? As we learn and understand this truth, right? We can see that we're at the end, all right? We don't have too much longer here. Esau can spew out 2030, whatever, other kind of dates, whatever. Listen, Yahweh Shai doesn't even know, okay? The Lord said, no man knoweth the day or the hour, right? Paraphrasing, except the Father that's in heaven. All right, that's His Majesty Yahweh Shai said that, I believe. Actually, you know what? Let me get that scripture. I don't want to just, oh man, know the day or hour. No. Esau thinks that, he can throw out dates and times like he knows more than Yahweh Shai, All right. Matthew 24:36 is the Lord speaking. All right, it's in red. Matthew 24:36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man. Esau, you're not even a man, so you definitely don't know. You don't know, period. All right. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. That's Abanoah Yahweh, Father Yahweh. Okay, only knows. All right. And when it's time to, the Lord is ready, man. Ready. Like you're like a runner. You're just ready. Like those Olympic runners or whatever, when they're ready to go, ready, set, go. Yeah, spiritually speaking, that's how Yahweh Shai more than likely feels. Actually, it does feel like that, right? Because if we're eager, right, you feel like more. Every single day. You know how it is, Jake. When you wake up, it's like you're moving fast along with the time moving fast. The time is moving fast as well because the Lord is shortening the days for the elect's sake, right? And you feel like shit. It's like I'm in like like back in the day with the VHS tapes, and you'd fast forward it, and it's like, and everything's just moving faster. That's how you feel most days. Like everything's moving fast, and you can just about fit in so many things that you need to get done, and you got so many things to deal with. And you obviously prioritize, of course, but you try and get things done, and it's like time is going fast. And we know that time is coming where Yahweh Shai is going to show up. All right. And the Lord is pacing. Like if the Lord is pacing back and forth and eager, because when the Lord returns, he's going to do something called overkill. All right. How much, the Lord feels that way. And that same sentiment is within the elect that are in the four corners of the earth, especially the men. All right. The ladies, I'm sure the elect lady probably feels the same way. The children, that are, I've noticed a lot of Israelite children are going to be beamed up into them chariots because I've been noticing a lot of children that are born, all right, that are closer to home from where I live, especially Israelite babies that are real beautiful as well. They're born with smile. They're always smiling all the time. They're always laughing and smiling. Not many tears. And if there are tears, it's like because they want the candy or whatever, right? But they're many smiling because they even know spiritually that Yahweh Shai is going to return and we got that kingdom coming. That's the way that jumps into my mind straight away. I said, why are you smiling? I look at my, you sometimes look at your, your family members, your nieces, nephews, or whatever. I think to myself, why are you smiling, sweetie pie? You look at your niece, right, or you look at your nephew, and you're always smiling all the time. I think, then I thought to myself, then the spirit just it jumps in my mind that they know that the Lord is returning, our kingdom is coming. All right, and I'm sure a lot of you brothers have noticed that as well with Israelite babies and. A lot of you watch videos of you might come across a video of a cute little baby, a little Jake baby playing the piano, or a cute baby being taught how to box by their father. You think, man, that's a beautiful scene, that's a beautiful sight, and you can see they're happy and they're always jolly and they're jovial. It's because they know the kingdom is coming. All right, and a lot of you Jakes need to understand. Right, 1 second, go back to this page. I was just thinking about it this morning. You know, all my past traumas and things like that, the things that I've gone through. Obviously, I'm not going to elaborate on that from childhood, from being born, childhood, whether you were bullied or whatever, or the things that you've gone through, financial issues, your woman walking out on you, your woman stepping out on you, you raising your children by yourself, certain traumatic experiences that you've gone through, uh, racist shit, like, 'cause, I'm a 70s baby, so I saw it firsthand, you know, um, there's so many things. I'm just touching a tip of the iceberg, right? And humiliation, things of that nature. And you just think to yourself, I was thinking about it. You know what? This is the last time we have to endure these things. Okay. And if we have to go on this side, I pray to Yahweh Hashem Shai that let my death be a worthy death. Let me, shout your name out. Be with me, Yahweh Hashem Shai, and we pray for our families too. Be with our families, Lord. If we have to go that way, let it be a noble death. And Abarat Tazal, we don't feel no pain, even if we have to give our heads, right? Let it be a noble death. And then even when you die and come back, we'll be in the kingdom. We'll be in the kingdom, man. But if you go first trip, you'll be in the kingdom also. All right? So either way, you'll be in the kingdom. But obviously, you want to be part of that first batch, first batch. That first, you want to be part of the elect. You want to be part of the elect, man. The 144 or the 1/3, man. You want to be part of that number because you get to see everything firsthand. You want to see America, you want to see Babylon implode, explode in every single way. You want to see all that, okay? And I just chucked in some images, like the end of the world or leading to paradise or whatever, right? And and some of these pictures are beautiful. Like I've been seeing a lot of rainbows recently as well, and I saw a rainbow last year. It was always like a spiral, like a staircase going to heaven. And I know a chariot was there, and I've been seeing a lot of rainbows like this recently as well. And I always see one at the beginning of the year and one at the end, sometimes in between. I'll be seeing chariots. My son has seen one as well, a blue flame. My son saw a blue flaming one flying through the sky, right? I saw an orange one flying over the town where I live, which is full of Jake, Israelite foreigners as well as heathens, right? Yeah, we see all spiritual things all the time. There's so many to name, all right? And what you got to have in your mind as well, right? Don't be thinking about all the hell that you've gone through. We had to go through that because remember, we're serving out our punishment. We did wrong, okay? We betrayed Yahweh Hashem Yashai, meaning that we didn't follow we started worshiping we don't even know what we did in our past life, right? All right, even before I knew I was an Israelite, I knew that idol worship was wrong. I knew that dealing with a married woman is wrong. I knew that taking illicit drugs was wrong, even though I did still take them. Okay, smoking weed or whatever, right? Even the herb is for meat. You're not supposed to smoke a damn thing. I knew these things. I knew that stealing was wrong. And I also knew that cooking meat had to be cooked properly. I mean, in Israelite foreigner culture, our butchery shops, the Jake butchery shops, especially Israelite foreigners, don't sell no swine. They don't sell no shrimp, crab, lobster, catfish. They don't sell that shit, which is highly spiritual as well. And in the culture that I grew up in, smoking is taboo. You can't smoke cigarettes. Drinking is normal. A couple of Israelite foreigners like my dad would get together with his brothers or cousins or whatever, or friends. They'd cook a pot of chicken. They'd cook and drink at the same time. Then after cooking and drinking at the same time, once you get a nice, buzz going, then eat and drink and shoot the shit. That's what Jake does. And Jake does that in, whether they're in the Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, or Israelite foreigners. That's the same sentiment. We like to get down like that. But, I've gone all over the place. Salakia for that. Yeah, you got to endure this one last time. So the things that you've gone through, we deserve death, to be honest with you, because the things that we've done, and only the Lord knows what we've done in our past lives. But what you got to understand is all the traumatic things that you've gone through, this is it. This is it. Like in the book of Daniel, the statue, all right, we started off with Babylon. I believe that was a gold head. Now we're at the feet. All those kingdoms have passed. We're at the feet, we're at the concrete feet. America's not going to last forever. The so-called white man's rulership is not going to last forever. The Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai said that there are bounds that they cannot pass. There is a limit. Okay, that finishing line. I mean, not finishing line. They're yeah, like like a loaf of bread. It has an expiration date, right? Or anything has an expiration date, right? The so-called white man's kingdom, Esau Edom, has an expiration date to his rulership. It's not going to go on and on and on. This ain't the 1950s. You don't have that kind of power anymore, so-called white man. All right, Esau Edom, the heathen nations. All right, that's over for you. Your heyday is over. The curses are coming upon you, damn devils. All right. So Jeremiah 30 verse 7, the curses are coming upon you, devils. All right. So all you Jakes, that are thinking, oh man, I went through this, I went through that. You don't need to worry. Okay. We got, look at that road. We're approaching the end of the road, man. We're at the end of this road of this rulership. Okay. We're coming to beautiful times. All right. We're coming to beautiful times. All right. We're at the end. We're almost here, man, at the finishing line. All right. We've got the kingdom coming. All right. You don't have to worry about these things. And remember one thing, you don't have to die and be born again and go through hell again, man. Financial issues and marital issues, body ailments, racism, going to job interviews, looking for work, application after application, being interviewed by crackers, then being rejected, and finally getting a job because the Yahweh Hashem has mercy on you. It's not going to be like that again. This is it. Do you understand? This is it. All right? This is it. It ain't going to happen again. All right? So be thankful. All right, Jake? Be thankful, man. All right? I was thinking about that this morning, saying, you know what? I was laying in my bed this morning. I was thinking to myself, all the embarrassing things that have happened from childhood up until now, the horrible, traumatic things that have happened up until now. And I was thinking to myself, man, we don't have to go through that again. Ever. This is it. All right? There ain't going to be no heathen rulership again. America's approaching its 250th year. And most heathen rulerships don't go past a 250-year period. All right? That's usually the timeline and time frame for most heathenistic rulerships, because they are all what? Temporary. The kingdom of heaven is eternal. Like the movie Eternals, the Israelites under the spirit power of Yahweh Hashem Yashai, and Yahweh Hashem Yashai himself is eternal. All right? And the Israelites underneath Yahweh Hashem Yashai, under the spirit power of Yahweh Hashem Yashai, are the real Eternals. Okay? Once you're born in the kingdom, you're not going to die. You're going to be young forever. You're going to be handsome forever. Our women are going to be beautiful and young forever. It's only the heathens are going to age and die. They're still going to have these weak-ass earthly bodies. Right? But we're going to be the Eternals. All right? We just got that last stretch to go through, which is going to be horrific, but we just got to go through it. It's like a bandage. Do you want to rip that bandage off quickly, or do you want to rip it off slowly? I say, let's rip this motherfucker off quickly, man. And Lord willing, get into the kingdom. All right? So this is the last go around. You don't have to worry about it, Jake. we got nothing but rest and paradise after this, man. Rest and paradise. And not at every single day. You're not going to get bored of your palaces, your women, every single day when you wake up in the kingdom, it's going to be like your first day you woke up. That's how it's going to feel. Yeah, you're going to wake up singing, dancing. You're going to be praising Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai. Yeah? Every time you deal with one of your wives or concubines, it's going to be like the first time you're getting some. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful experience. When you have a meal in the kingdom, it's going to be like the first meal you're having. That lamb steak or that beef steak and mashed potato. I'm just talking about the food we're having now, but in the kingdom, we're going to obviously still have food like that, but we're going to have better things, right? Real wine, real beer and lawful things, right? Real water. What's water going to taste like? We've got bottled water, sometimes, certain tap water you can drink. In the UK, I'm talking about. What's real water going to taste like? Real proper clothing as well that's comfortable. Lawful materials. Even the simple things I think about. No more bodily aches and pains. No more worrying about your children going out to play. Right? Oh, are they okay? Shall I call them on their mobile phone? Son, what time are you going to be home? Blah, blah, blah. All that kind of shit. You don't have to worry. No anxiety. Yeah? You don't have to worry about your beautiful wife going to the store shopping and some motherfucker hollering at her. And then she calls you up, say, babe, someone's bothering me. Come here, quick. You don't have to worry about shit like that no more. That's not going to happen in the kingdom. And even if a slave looked at your wife in the wrong way or one of your wives in the wrong way, we've got spiritual power. We'll know it. And we'll take them out good and proper and raise them back up and put them back in slavery. Man, you're not going to get out of this hell that easy, you know? Or, if we want, we'll delete them, you know? Just think about it. This is it. All right, let's go to some scriptures now. Some more scriptures, I mean. 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to type it in, Lord willing. Let's go to Proverbs 3. Let's go to Proverbs 3 and 11. Okay? Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3 and 11. Chapter 3, verse 11. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, neither be weary of his correction. Verse 12. For whom the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth. Those of you that are fathers, haven't you whooped your child before? Why do you whoop them? Why do you force them to eat their greens, finish their steak, or finish their lamb, or finish their roti, or finish their flatbread, or whatever? Eat, drink their milk. You want them to be strong. You want them to be comely. You want them to be healthy, right? You want to correct them. They do wrong, you whoop them. Why? Because we love our children, right? A stranger's child, that's running across the street or whatever, you're not going to get involved with so much, and even if you know the child, you must say, oh son, be careful, right? Be careful running across the street like that. Okay? But that child is not my responsibility. Like the Lord does not love the 2/3. The Lord doesn't love the heathen. The Lord loves you, Jake. You elect members, whoever you are across the four corners of the earth. At the moment, we're hopeful elect. There's that hope. Okay? Hebrews 11 verse 1, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. We hope for it, but the Lord also drops us spiritual nuggets, spiritual breadcrumbs, okay, to keep us going in the right direction. When we're feeling down, the Lord might give you a spiritual number, might give you a vision, might give you something beautiful, man, like a rainbow, whatever it could be, to keep you going, man, like a race, like a marathon. You might have the wife her husband might be running in the race, and the wife might follow her husband down, like by a car or by a bike, every 10 miles or whatever, and give him an orange juice or a glass of water to drink so he can keep what? Running. Stay satiated, hydrated. The Lord Yahweh Hashem Mashai does the same thing for us. Okay? So for whom the Lord Yahweh Hashem Mashai loveth, he correcteth, even as a father, the son in whom he delighteth. Verse 13, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. Okay, wisdom is wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. And when the Lord is supping with you, we get that understanding. And that understanding is broken down by the men of the Lord, the men of Yahweh Bashem Yashai, our teachers, men of Great Millstone, okay, who are teaching Israelites and Israelite foreigners across the four corners of the earth. All right, verse 14, for the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. Okay? Verse 15, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Okay? Let me read verse 16 as well. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Okay? So this wisdom, man, is bigger than any lottery ticket, any golden ticket, or whatever. All right? This wisdom, this truth, and having the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua and believing in it, and the Lord giving you spiritual signs that He's with you. All right? That is the bestest, and let me say the bestest gift ever. All right? Bestest. Fuck these other people, man. These 2/3 and Steve Harveys and Jay-Z's and these P. Diddy's and, Jennifer Lopez's or whatever, you know, Israelite foreigners. And if I mention some Israelite foreign actors, you ain't gonna know. You ain't gonna know them. They're from Bollywood, you know. Fuck, they're um, their riches and their wealth and the things that they've done to acquire it. They're not happy. That's why most of these so-called entertainers are high all the time. Okay, they can't even look in the mirrors. They see demons, like Nicole Kidman. Even though she's a heathen, she has makeup artists to come and do her makeup. She doesn't want to look into a mirror because she sees demons. All right, they drown themselves in their so-called riches, and they're still not happy. Okay, they're still being controlled. They're still being told what to do. Okay, they got a consolation prize. Okay, we got this wisdom, and in the kingdom, it's just gonna be glorious, man. We can only understand happiness and glory, right, according to what we see in this world. We might see a rich Arab in his mansion and, several wives or whatever, playing with lions and tigers and shit. Okay, uh, Rolls Royces, Lamborghinis, supercars or whatever. We see that. We see all these exotic islands. Okay, cool. But the kingdom is going to be something else, boy. Something else. All right, you're gonna have no flaws, no potholes in your skin. All right, you're gonna have a perfect hairline, perfect beard line. Your skin is gonna be just beautiful, man. You're gonna be a handsome Jake Swole. You won't have to bench press no more. You won't have to train no more. You won't have to, your wife that you married now on this side is, you married at 20. She was 19, 20, 21. You know, and now she's an old hag 25 years later. She ain't gonna be no old hag in the kingdom. She'll be young and beautiful, all your wives, man. It's just gonna be just amazing, amazing. You gotta meditate on these things, man, and it makes what you're going through, it gives you like an ointment or a balm, and plus, obviously, the name of Yahweh Hashem Yeshua, it's like a balm and ointment on your pain and your souls and woes and things like that. All right, because you got a lot to look forward to, bruv. A lot. All right, a lot. All right, let's go to go to another scripture. So Proverbs 8 and 35, Lord willing. Proverbs 8, verse 35. For whoso findeth me findeth life and shall obtain favor of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Okay? John 15:16. He, you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. All right? So the Lord chose us, and through the Spirit, the Lord chose us, and we found the Lord, and there's a spiritual connection because we are chosen from the foundation of the earth. If you're part of that number, of course. Okay, because it's a scary thing. We've seen certain teachers that are really like ninjas, spiritual ninjas with the scriptures, and they're falling out by the wayside, and now they've got dreadlocks and shit, and they're looking crazy. There's a video a couple of months ago that one of the elders made of a guy who used to be in GMS Chicago. That dude is smoking cigarettes now and listening to Madonna. Not even listening to nothing wrong with listening to Madonna because she's more than likely Jake. She's an Italian woman, all right. Especially 80s stuff is all right or whatever, right? But it's nostalgic music. It's cool, But this guy's smoking cigarettes. Dog going back to his vomit. How do you live with yourself like that? How do you wake up in the morning? Who do you pray to? You still pray to Yahweh Hashem Yeshua while smoking a cigarette? That's crazy. All right. So Proverbs 8 and 35. So this is a blessing. Count yourself blessed, man. Don't look at other people. All right. Some of you Jakes might not have a woman. You're burning and that. Don't worry about it, man. The Lord will give you the Lord will throw your bone your way very soon. All right. You're seeing all these other Jakes getting, everything handed to them and everything's working out for them. They don't know what's coming. You do. All right. You do. And you got the name of Yahweh Hashem Yeshua. You're going to be protected. They're not going to be. All right. For whoso findeth me findeth life and shall obtain favor of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshua. Okay. Therefore Yahweh Shai died for you. Brak Yahweh Hashem Yeshua. Verse 444. Yeah. Beautiful. See, that's it. That's what you got, a spiritual nugget. As soon as I read, "For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord," Yahweh Hashem Mashai, and I looked up at the clock, or the ticker. What do you call him? The how many minutes the video's been recording? It's 444, right? 24 and then 24 and then 444, right? That's spiritual. For whoso findeth me findeth life, because 4 is mercy, and shall obtain favor of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. So it's a beautiful thing, man. All right. Let me go to one or two more scriptures. It's been 25 minutes thus far. I don't want to keep it too long because um, Proverbs and Psalm are so beautiful, man. You can just read these lovely scriptures all day, and it's so poetic and beautiful, man. It's just like it brings tears to your eyes sometimes, goose pimples, and you feel elevated. You feel like you're about to fly off, straight up, man. It feels beautiful, man. Reading these scriptures, blessed is he that readeth. Blessed is he that readeth, Lord willing, man. Lord willing. All right. And incidentally, today the sky is blue and the sun is shining after all the rain for the several days. It's still cold though. Proverbs, what did I read? 3:18. Let's go to Psalm. Psalms 119 and 72. The law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. Okay. So obviously we can't keep the laws properly on this side. Okay. But we try to rehearse the righteous acts. Okay, as the elders say, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. All right. There's certain things that we can't do. A perfect example is, right, unless you're financially blessed and you do have a spare house or a couple of houses or whatever, and you're not renting them out and you can keep them empty for your woman to use. If she's on her monthly rag, she's supposed to be separated from you for her during her period of 7 days, I believe. All right, okay. She's supposed to be separated, because some women's cycle is 3 days, some is 7 days, whatever. Sometimes you got to separate yourself from your woman. And if you don't, you're unclean, right? And sometimes you might be catching a bus or a train to go to work, and women are on the train and bus, and sometimes they could be on their rag, right? And she gets off the seat, you're standing there with your legs tight, thinking, oh shit, it's 7 in the morning, I've got to get to work by 9. And then you sit down on the seat, and it's all warm and shit, and she could be on her rag. Things like that, you can't keep it properly on this side. But the thing is, you try and rehearse the righteous acts and things that you can do, all right? And that law, and doing these and attempting to do these things, the Lord sees that you're trying to do it. Okay? Like on the Sabbath, sometimes you can't keep it properly. You've got to work or deal with situations because, we're in hell. And, but the one thing you can keep is basically not use your rod that day, You don't deal with your woman. But on the day that's a Sabbath, you start burning even more. You're like tingling all over, thinking, damn, I've got to, You're thinking, okay, cool, wait till sundown. Is one of those things that you got to deal with, and certain things that you can keep, certain things that you can't keep. But this law, is better than thousands of gold and silver, man, because the Lord Yahweh Shemashai gives you the gold and silver. So if you listen to the Lord and follow His ways and try to follow His ways, especially in this hell, okay, Yahweh Shemashai is going to bless you, especially if you're part of His sheep, man. Okay, so we got nothing but good things coming to us, man. Nothing but good things coming to us. All right. Let's see if I can find anything else that I want to read. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there now. I think I made the point, Lord willing. So we got nothing but good things coming to us, all right? All this traumatic experience, experiences, meditate upon them, but also realize that they're not going to happen again. Okay? We've got this last little bit to go through. Okay? Jacob's trouble amplified. It started, but it's going to be amplified. The Karagma situation, Revelation 13:16, Jeremiah 30 verse 7, amplified Jacob's trouble. Revelation 13:16, the MOTB, the mark of the beast. Okay, you can see a lot of things gearing up towards that. World War III, Revelation 11:14. We have to get through these things and the return of the Lord. Okay, and obviously the marauders and all the gangs in the street, the racist gangs, martial law, all these things we have to go through. That's just the last little stretch. And when these things start popping off, it's going to be going quicker. Time's going quick right now, and it's going to speed up even more because the Lord knows the elect have to be protected. The elect have to be, covered with Yahweh Hashem Yeshua's wings. So the Lord did say, okay, if the time isn't sped up, right? Let me get that scripture actually. Shortened. Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. All right? So it's going to speed up even more when all hell breaks loose. Okay? Otherwise, the Lord said, even Yahweh Shai said, no flesh should be saved. If we were here another couple more years, right? Or like, Lord forbid, like these arsehole other camps that say 20 years or 1,000 years, these dickheads out there, these false camps, these agents, they say these crazy timelines. Hey, we won't be existing. But the Lord said the Lord's going to speed up the time for the elect's sake, man. All right, so when these things really start happening, right? Jacob's trouble, the Karagma situation, Revelation 13:16, the World War III, Revelation 11:14, and all that, the Lord's going to speed up the time even more. All right, and we're approaching that time. Okay, so meditate upon the hell that you've gone through, but remember one thing: you don't have to go through it again. This is the last go around. We've got nothing but paradise and rest coming after this. All right, I'm gonna leave it there now. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakwadash, Mawathabad, Babal, Kwam Yashra, Shalom.